Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming to my channel.
And if you keep on asking, I'll just keep saying so. This isn't what I wanted.
If you guys don't know me, if you guys never seen my existence and you just stumbled upon this video, what's up? My name is Marco Hernandez. Nice to meet y'all. This week's video, I'm gonna tell you guys the first time I became like a bad bitch, like a bad bitch. Just kidding, no. But this is for my first ever story time, and this is my first time ever getting suspended in middle school. And I was such a good kid, and when this happened, everybody was just like, what? It was kind of crazy. But before I continue, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to like and or comment if you would like to. I would really appreciate it. If you like my videos, then I'll post more, and if you don't like my videos, then sorry. Before we get started with this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. Don't forget to like or comment, and don't forget to follow me on my social medias. They will be in the description below and at the end of this video also. So let's continue. It was in 8th grade. It was around March or April, I believe, of 2014-15, I believe. We were in the computer lab, and I don't want to say teacher's name, so I'll just say Miss Carrie. So Miss Carrie wanted us to write a school or like a class essay, or I forgot what the essay or whatever what it was about, but all I know is that she gave us a word, and each letter of that word you have to have a word or sentence with it. I forgot what word I picked, but I picked that word, and I remember that I had chef, a shark in my house. Back then 8th graders just had a huge imagination. I had bombing the school. So now I know you guys are wondering, like, well, of course, you got suspended because you wrote that on your school paper. Okay, but she said to make it funny. So I put that down, and I clicked print. So, I'm getting up, and the teacher's like, no, it's okay, Marco, I'll get it. I said, thank you, Miss Carrie, very nice of you. So Miss Carrie walks up to the printer, she grabs the paper, and she looks at it, and at that moment, I knew that I fucked up. Her mouth literally dropped. Like, she said, she shook her head, and I was just sitting there, like, giving her that look, like. She goes back to her desk, and she is making it a report about it, and so I'm just like, this girl's not gonna give me my paper, I'm gonna just print a new one. Print out my paper, and I walk up to the printer, and she's like, why are you printing another one? I said, well, I mean, you have my original copy, and so I'm just printing another one out. So she's like, can you come here for a second? So she grabs me, well, not grabs me, but she pulls me aside, and she says, listen, what you wrote on your paper was not okay. It's kind of like a threat, because who writes that on a piece of paper? So I told her straight up, I said, look, it was just a joke. If you want, I can just make a new copy, but write that differently, we don't have to make this such a big deal. Well, no, it's my job, I have to. I'm sorry, Marco, but I have to take it to the dean's office. I'm just thinking, like, I fucked up. I really fucked up, and that's my fault. And so now I have to deal with the consequence. Grabbing my stuff to leave, and the kids are looking at me like, Marco, what's going on? What's happening? And the kid I was sitting next to, I'm not gonna say his name, but I don't even know if he watches my videos or not. I don't give a fuck. But I was packing my stuff, and he knew what I wrote and everything, and he said, did you get in trouble? And I'm like, yeah. And he just started laughing, and I smiled. Like, I didn't mean to write that because I thought it was funny, but, that just popped up in my head, so I just started laughing with him. And then, I had so many girls as friends, so, half the class was my friend. They're like, Marco, where you going? Like, they were, like, shocked that I wrote that, and they were just like, why would I write that? So I walk up into the dean's office, and there is, whatever her name is. I don't even know her name. We'll call her, like, Miss T. Like, hey, Miss T. And she's like, hey, Marco, are you here to collect papers? And I'm like, not today. And she's like, what's wrong? And I'm just like, I got in trouble. And she's like, for what? And then, like, she gets an email and she's like, I think this is for you. And she clicks it and she's like, I have never seen Miss T so upset with me. She looked at me and she's like, Marco, she's like, really? And she printed it out and she looked at all of it. She's like, you did everything right, but you messed up on this. She's like, you messed up. And I told her straight up, I looked at her and I'm like, I know, I fucked up. And she looked at me and she said, yeah, you really messed up. So, I'm not gonna cover this teacher's name because I don't give a fuck. So, the dean, Miss Gucci, but everybody called her Miss Coochie just because she was just a bitch. She was like 5'5", not even, like 5 feet. No. I would say like 5'2", 5'3". But she had muscle, you know, she was, her body was skinny, you know, she had muscle. So I see her walk in and she's like, hi, Marco. And I'm just like, good afternoon, Miss Gucci. And I didn't want to look at her because I knew she was going to take me. And I would take the least, you know, other dean. I would rather take the other dean. There I am just sitting there. And so she's like, Marco, come into my office, please. So I get up, I grab my book bag, and I go in there and I close the door. And she's like, oh, don't close the door. And I was like, I don't want people to hear my business. I'm closing the door. Nothing's going to happen. I know there's a regulation that there has to be the door open. But trust me, I'm not going to do anything. Don't think I'm a threat or anything because I'm not no threat. She's looking at the email. She's looking at the paper. And she's like, so what happened? So I'm just like, what do you mean? And she looks at me and she says, well, what happened, you know? I tell her everything that happened from the beginning of English class to where Miss Carrie had to walk me to the dean's office and this and that. So she's asking me who's bullying me, who forced me to do this, what's going on at home. And I'm just looking at her like, bitch, I wanted to write it because it was funny. Like, I thought it was funny, so I just decided, why not just write that? But she wasn't taking it. She was like, okay, well, since you don't want to tell me the truth, we're just going to have to call your parents and you're just going to have to wait here until your parents come. I'm like, I'm not waiting here until my parents come. You either let me go to class, I won't speak about it, or you let me go sit in the lunchroom. At that time, at the end of the period, I had gym. So after English, I had gym, straight go to gym. So I told her, I said, I want to go to gym. Yo, this is the first time that I ever wanted to go to gym. Ever. I hated gym so much. But this was the first time that I actually wanted to go. So I told her and I said, I want to go to gym. So it's either you let me go into gym class or we gonna have a problem. And so she's like I see her grab onto her freaking speaker, her walkie-talkie, and I'm just like thinking in my head like, bitch, I'm not gonna pull out a fucking machete and just slice your ass. Like, I'm in 8th grade, I'm taller than you. Like, I'm like 5'5", 5'6" at the time, I believe. And here's like 5 foot, 5'2", 5'3", Miss Coochie hoe ass. She tells me that I can't go to gym because right now she feels like this paper is a threat to the school. Really? Are you gonna do a lockdown or something? And she's like, no. And I'm like, okay, then if you're not gonna do a lockdown, then it's nothing that serious. I'm like, just give me like a whole week of after school detention. Give me a whole week of lunch detention. I don't care. I can handle it. Just don't, you know, I didn't say suspend me because I didn't know she was gonna do that. I was like, but just don't, you know, do anything that would make my parents like really pissed at me. I was so scared for my life, y'all. My parents, like, my mom and my sister especially, that bitch takes everything out of proportion. But anyways, back to my motherfucking story. I'm sitting there and I still haven't gotten an answer from her. So she's still asking me these questions. So are you gonna talk to me and tell me who made you do this? Who's bullying you? What's going on at home? And I always look at her straight in the face and I tell her and I say, no one made me do this. No one is bullying me. Nothing is happening at home. I just wanted to write this. So, there she goes. And she asked me one more time. And I just make this up so she can just shut the fuck up. I look at her and I said, okay, you know what? Fine. I'm like, I wanted to write that just for a side paper. just for me to just keep, and I was just gonna erase that and write something else. I just said that so the bitch can just shut the hell up. So she says, okay. She's like, thank you for telling me this. And I was just like, what makes a difference? You know, you guys get me. Like, what's the difference if I didn't tell you? Like, what the fuck was gonna happen either way? So she's like, we called your parents and they're on their way. So let's go into the principal's office so we can go into the main meeting room. So I'm like, why are we having a meeting about this? And she's like, because it's a threat and it's really strange of you because I see your grades. You're a top class grade A student. You're always here to school on time. You're never late. You haven't missed a day in your life in school, and now out of nowhere like this happens, and it's odd for us. So we want to help you out. So we're gonna do a meeting and we're gonna talk to you and see what we can help you out. And I was just looking at her and I told her straight up, I was like, does it look like I want help? Does it look like I need the help? I was like, no. I'm like, I'm perfectly fine on my own. We walk up to the principal's office and I see my mom and my brother walking on the other side of the office, and they're looking at me walk in. The officer, I guess, was already there. He was already informed about what happened, and a supervisor went into my locker, into my personal locker. So they pull out my book bag, my Axe sprayer, you know, like the body spray, and a lighter. Yeah, a fucking lighter. They sit down and they put those on the table. And so my mom looks at me and she's like, you know, like she's looking at me, but she's not talking to me. And she's like, whose lighter is that? You know, like I already have that face-to-face moment with her. And I can already tell, like, whose lighter is that? Why do you have that? You know, you're about to get even more trouble. The supervisor and the teacher and the police officer come. I don't know the bitches' names, but oh, who cares? Yeah, they don't matter. They come and sit down. You know, they greet everybody. And the first question I ask them is, and I said it to in front of my parents, I said, why the fuck did you guys go through my personal locker? I'm like, first of all, I'm underage, so you guys have no rights. I'm like, you guys could have called my parents and told them that, or asked them if it was okay for y'all to be coming into my locker like that. So my mom kind of got pissed about it because it's like, it's my personal locker, you know, why are you in there? So the cop was like, well, it's safety regulations now that your son tried to threaten the school. And I was like, I wasn't threatening the school. I was like, it was just a funny joke and you guys took it out of proportion. So the cop was like, why do you have a lighter? I told him and I said, well, me and my friends were going to smoke after school, but they didn't show up, so I just kept the lighter. And I forgot that I left it in my book bag, so then I just took it out, hid it around my books, and that was it. So he says, I don't believe that. And I'm just like, you believe what you want to believe. I don't give a fuck. Principal was like, let us talk about this and see how we can help you. They go on and on talking. I'm just sitting there like, I just want to go home. It's around like 2:30. No, not even 2:30. 15 minutes before the bell rings to go home. So I missed gym. I sucks that I couldn't go to gym. I was mad as hell about that already because I just wanted to get away with it. Not get away with it because I was going to get a consequence, but like just move away from the problem, you know, move on. Like life moves on. Let's just move on. We come to a conclusion and Miss Gucci said, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to suspend your son for 3 days, 2 or 3 days, I believe it was. At that point, like I knew I fucked up and like I took a big like breath and I inhaled really loud and I'm like, I put my head down. And so she's like, okay, she's like, just, I'll make it 2 days only. So it's 2 days. I'll make it 2 days only. You have to come back and all you have to do is just make up one dean's detention with me and you can sit in my office. So I looked at her and I said, thanks. And she said, you know, no problem, you know, just next time watch what you write on your paper. So the moral of the story is, the moral of the story is, if you want to be funny in class, and if you want to write something funny, then cautious on your paper, and you already know that it's like a hazard to places and this and that, just don't write it on your paper, or don't be as stupid as me, because that I fucked up really bad, and I messed up, and it sucked that I had to get suspended for that reason. You know, if I would ever get suspended again, or if I can go back in the past and change that, I would totally change that, because that ruined my reputation from being a good kid to being watched at and to be known as like that like bad kid. Because after I went into high school, like people still talked about it, and it's like, why are people still talking about it? But then I realized like I went from being a goody goody to a bad kid with good habits. That was it for this story time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, because I certainly did enjoy talking about it. It was a hell of a ride. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to comment down below, what do you want to hear next? Story time. I can do a challenge. I can do many videos. Until next time. Oh wait, no, pause, hold on. Don't forget to follow me on my social medias down below or on my screen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And don't forget to follow my fan page on Facebook. I will have that in the description box below. Thank you again, you guys, and I will see you guys next week. Toodles!